PromarkerD International specialises in developing new diagnostic tests, particularly for chronic diseases with significant unmet medical need. What we're offering now is an opportunity to look at the individual and come up with a new way of recognising disease and trying to actually personalise the treatments that will follow. What we're able to look at with our technology is a better means of diagnosing an individual and seeing where they're at in terms of their health. PromarkerD is a proprietary technology platform that we've developed to look at a protein fingerprint that we can find in the blood. And that fingerprint lets us determine the presence of disease. PromarkerD for diabetes is a test that we've developed for diabetic kidney disease. It's a predictive test that can tell the onset of chronic kidney disease up to 4 years in advance.
Diabetic kidney disease is one of the complications of diabetes. It's a chronic complication, so it comes on after many years of diabetes typically. The end stage of kidney disease is renal replacement therapy, so dialysis or transplantation, and that's extremely expensive clinical management. So the idea would be to try and prevent those. So we need to know who's going to be at risk of developing them, because we can make sure that their current clinical management is optimised to give them the best chance of avoiding bad outcomes in future. My group have been working with Proteomics International for a number of years now, and we were interested to see whether there are any proteins in the circulation that we could measure that would forecast how kidney function changed in people from the community with type 2 diabetes. And we ended up with a small number of proteins that are represented by the PromarkerD, and in validation studies we found that they're a robust indicator of relatively rapid renal decline over a 4-year period after the test has been done.
The PromarkerD test has taken about 10 years to develop to this point, and so we needed the technology to kind of catch up with our ideas and be able to detect these markers at the extremely low level in a reproducible and robust manner. And so that's really where our technology is at the forefront of being able to detect very low levels of proteins and biomarkers in your blood at, reproducibly and robustly. And so it involves a lot of robotic systems and handling of samples, and also involves high-end instruments, mass spectrometers, to be able to detect and characterize what we use to diagnose diabetic kidney disease. Once we have the patient's biomarker levels that we've measured with our technology, we combine that with some clinical parameters and we upload that data into the web portal. And what the web portal does is take all that data, applies an algorithm to it, a sophisticated algorithm that we developed, and produces a predictive score for that person. So that is the prediction of how likely they are to get diabetic kidney disease in the next 4 years. That's really crystal ball gazing stuff. So we can be able to tell what is going to happen to that individual person after 4 years, before they even know it, before their body even knows it. We'll be able to tell and predict what is going to happen to their kidneys.
It's not one of those tests that you need a lot of sophisticated upfront equipment. The blood can be taken, sent away to the laboratory, and the result comes back for you to use. But certainly the PromarkerD would probably get clinicians to try even harder and perhaps motivate the patients themselves to adhere to management if they knew that they were at risk of kidney disease.
The onset of kidney disease can be very difficult to determine. Many people can be walking around for years before they have any symptoms. The existing tests have been around for 40 or 50 years. They're not very accurate, so they frequently miss individuals who've already got chronic kidney disease. What is more of a problem is that they're not very sensitive. And so they can only tell you you've got disease when you've got quite advanced forms of the disease. But if we can actually manage that process and decrease that number, then that's a good outcome for a dialysis company, it's a good outcome for an insurance company. We can spend a small amount of money in terms of testing early, and then a small amount of money on more precise medication, rather than the huge amount of money that's going to come from dialysis or kidney transplant. PromarkerD is a test that can be run in specialist laboratories. In the US, the laboratory developed test is a standard path to market, and the test is available on that platform. It's also available as an immunoassay test, as an immunoassay kit. These technologies can be run in different labs in different parts of the world. We've conducted a number of clinical studies on PromarkerD, and these have been published in major journals. Our hope with PromarkerD is that we can make a difference in a lot of lives. We would like to see the test become a standard part of the clinical program that would be done in anybody who goes in for routine monitoring. We see PromarkerD tests sitting there alongside cholesterol tests, alongside cancer tests, alongside standard diabetes tests. Once we have a base level score on an individual, we can get very high levels of precision into the future as to the likelihood of developing a disease. If we can intervene and stave off those consequences, if we can slow down the progression of the disease, if we can give somebody a greater period of active life, then that's a great outcome.